G'day and welcome back to Torment, Tides of Ranmenera. It's time to explore more of the cliff's edge, because last time round we kind of got here, we got ourselves Eritis and we got ourselves Rin, and we dumped Tiber because, well, I don't know, he didn't seem as cool as the other options. One of the things I quite like actually is that Eritis, now I've got him and also have the ability to scan thoughts rather. It seems his aura hasn't, like, he's literally got two minds in there that we're picking thoughts up, and I suspect one of them is manifested by his aura. These three triangles float serenely above a scuffed stone basin. You can't help noticing that the citizens of Sagas are giving this monument a wide berth. The largest triangle shines brightly, radiating a soothing warmth. The middle, darker one hovers above it, turning slightly away from the first with what strikes you as disdain. The third is small, dryly amused, and so deeply indigo as to be nearly black. It's removed from the first two triangles. You hesitate. You are sensing emotions from these objects. Intent. Something is strange there. Let's first look at the stone basin, the least threatening thing. The stone basin is cracked in places, but far newer than the ancient shapes that float above. You suspect the citizens of Sagas added the basin to make the triangles look less out of place, more like an art object, and less like this strange artifact we can't do anything about. Let's start with the largest triangle. You reach out and time slows. Your hand drifts past individual motes of light-dappled dust, moving into the warm glow of the large triangle. Calm warmth bleeds up your arm when you grasp the edge of the triangle, somehow rigid and flexible at the same time. You blink, swaying. In the half-second before you open your eyes, you hear the thunderous crack of wood on wood and the rumble of distant voices. You snatch your hand from the triangle. Study the medium-sized triangle. Staring at this triangle is disorienting. The longer you stare at it, the more you feel a tight coiling sensation in your own head. Standing on your toes, stretching, you manage to brush the triangle's icy face with your finger. The air thickens like a weight over you. You struggle to keep your eyes open. Between the thumping of your heartbeat, you see thousands of purposeful rhythmic steps treading endless stairs towards the peak of a vast echoing room. And then examine the smallest triangle. The tiny object spins slightly faster than the others. The more you stare at it, the more you sense a growing presence in the air, the icy regard of distant eyes. You blink and a strip of light unwinds ahead of you like a path through infinite murmuring dark. Behind you is an ever-shifting zoetrope of linked, motionless hues. It's your past, you realize. Every second of it, every choice, pouring out of you and trailing away into the black. You open your eyes. You're back in the stone ring, still touching the triangle. All three of them are watching you. You blink again. The strip of light, the surrounding darkness, and the valley between the slow pulsing of your heart. You hear the murmurs of countless witnesses. You raised voices of your past and future companions, the heated combinations of enemies you haven't met yet. And above it all, a trio of voices, one warm, one cold, one dryly practical. They're speaking a verdict, but you can't hear them over the din. Shout for silence so you can hear the judges. You bellow into the dark, clenching your fists, and the crowd instantly falls silent. So do the judges. In the echoing silence that remains, you are alone, but you realize you always were. You stride on. The path unravels before your every step. Your past unspools behind you. Step off the path. You step into the dark. The path shifts obediently to follow you. Your choices define it, not the other way around. You open your eyes. The three triangles hang in the air exactly as they did before, unmoving and silent. The vision is gone, and yet you can still feel the choices you've made, curving away behind you like a string of jewels. You straighten, moving into the future, breath by breath. You suddenly notice a message carved into the stone ring beneath the triangles. Judge yourself. As you watch it, it slowly fades away. And let's touch the large one again. Anything happens? The warmth and the middle one is still pulling your thoughts along, and the smallest one spins on. This time the presence you sensed is gone. And we can repeat that. But yeah. Okay, now let's check what we got. One thing I was thinking of, by the way, is if we take this unstable detonation, and we give it to Rin. So the thing about Rin is she's a kid. She does have a few Numenera slots. I think everyone's got at least a couple. But Rin's got 3, which is unusual for a character. And she's even got one intellect edge, which is nice. But this means that... so yawny today. But basically, if we give her stuff, she can use it in combat. Because she's got small pools, especially mine. She's got no weapon right now, but I suspect even with a weapon, she's not going to do a whole lot.
Hello,
So...
Don't shout. When you do, we can all hear you. It makes you even more irritating than normal.
But yeah, I
understand calisthesias.
I love Eratus's interactions. But anyway, I've now... Oh, right, yes. So I just think that it would be helpful to be able to basically use her as kind of a sneaky deployment of some of the ciphers here. Let's talk to Aiden Sitabo, who's wearing like a stereotypical karate gi. The large muscled man is practicing some sort of martial art as you look on. He's wearing an old white rough woven coat with the sleeves torn off, and a red bandana is wrapped tightly around his head. He seems to be moving much faster than his size suggests is possible. He glides between stances as swiftly as water. His fists are blurring hammers striking at invisible enemies. His bare, callous feet snap and slash at the air like knives. When did you learn to fight like that? By challenging the deadliest creatures and studying their killing blows. I lack claws or teeth, but I do the best I can. You're very fast. Yes, Aiden says. The rebel's gift. His hands slip around an invisible assailant's arms. He snaps it with the stab of his elbow, then crushes his enemy's throat and flips him over his shoulder to the ground. Jasanta Moray, he shouts, spinning over the invisible adversary's corpse to deliver a triangle of jabs to the chest of his next attacker. The entire set of moves took no longer than 4 seconds. He catches you staring and smiles. You must be wondering why I'm shouting. Yeah, a bit. I'm not surprised. I must look like a lunatic, he says, before spearing his opponent's jugular with 3 fingers. Canted thrust! It helps me focus my breathing, my strength, and my will. It reminds me of how weak I once was, and how strong I've become. Years ago, I was a starving beggar. I managed to steal a wedge of pie crust and was terrified that someone would take it from me. So I hid inside that metal structure over there to enjoy my feast. Bite of a hidden queb, he says, clawing his enemy's eyes. The stale crust crumbled into pieces between my eager fingers, and something strange happened. They drifted towards the ground like the softest of snowflakes. I was able to pluck each of them from the air before they fell. At first I was delighted, then I wept. How far had I fallen that clean food was a miracle. He sighs and delivers 4 more blows to the air's belly. But the miracle never ended. The longer I lived in that shelter, the more I could slow the world by concentrating. I swore to never waste this gift. I would honor it by becoming stronger, faster. I would challenge the predators of this world and take their killing blows from them. I would never be prey again. Grass stump. Okay, farewell. I would like to challenge him, but I think I would like more speed pool before I do. Or I could get Eratus to do it, which would also be fine. So we could then go to the pub. Do you want to go to the pub? Do you want to go to her? Actually, no, Lost of Self. We'll start Lost of Self's quest and we'll start Finzen's quest. See what we can get done. Lost of Self. This young woman clutches herself and growls low and continuously. Under her breath, pearly white light shimmers from a vial on her wrist, and her eyes are red-rimmed as if she's been crying. You've never seen her before, and yet your hands are sweating and your breath catches in your inherited chest. Shame burns your throat hot and sour. Your body recognizes her, even if you do not. This isn't you, only I am real. You don't need to fight me. Leave me alone, she mutters, and it's moments before you realize she's not talking to you. You took my face, stole my family, whisper at me in my own voice. Isn't that enough? Isn't that... She breaks off when she sees you. She's in my head and she won't shut up. Talk loud, talk over her so I can hear you. Mother Tamaz sent me. I want to help. That grim old sack of bones, she says, trying to smile. I've never been able to fool her. No one can. She grips her head, staring at you from between the bars of her forearms. I've been hearing a woman's voice for a long time. She tells me that everything I know about who I am is wrong, and her words are persuasive. With a sound like that's a half chuckle, half sob, she continues, I can't remember my childhood or my family. Last year I forgot my name, but that's not all.
Updated my journal.
I see people who look like me around the city. They have my face. They speak in my voice. And once I saw a ghost of her in the 5th eye. I knew it was a woman in my head. She had a kind face, but it was sad. Like she knew she was going to win to take over my body, but didn't want to. She clenches her fist. She won't win. I'll kill myself first. How long have you been hearing this voice? 6, 7 years? At first it was just a whisper behind my thoughts. Then I started forgetting simple things, like where a scarf was. Then one day I woke up and I couldn't remember my mother's face. I wish I wasn't scared, but I'm terrified. You're not alone. I'll help you, whatever it takes. Thank you, she says. Her smile is a fragile, beautiful thing. Tell me about the ghost you saw in the fifth eye. She looks like... No, she was me, but I could tell... but I could see through her to the pipes on the walls. At first she wouldn't look over. Then she did, and the voice in my head, I couldn't hear the words, but it felt like glass breaking, ripping my mind to slivers and shreds. She was crying. She knew she was hurting me and she couldn't stop. She's kind, understand. I hate her for that.
Making a note.
She's still in there, in the fifth eye. She's always there. Have you ever tried talking to her, reasoning with her? Why? She exclaims, tears of pain glittering at the corners of her eyes. Why should I talk to her when I can hear her right now? I want to talk about your family. I told you, I can't even bring their faces to mind, just shapes. Shapes in a sea of that damned woman's words. I know you're trying to help, but you don't understand. Her whispers eat at me. They peel away at me. How am I supposed to stop her when I don't even know who I am? Funny you should ask. I'm missing a lot of memories too. Her lips quirk, and for a moment she looks more like to laugh than cry. What a pair we are. It's nice to know I'm not the only one. There's nothing I can say that I haven't already tried. She won't stop talking. She'll never leave. Someone must know who you are. Yes, but either they haven't come looking or they haven't found me. I'm not an idiot. I've thought about asking Government Square. The council's supposed to have information on everyone, but I've never made it there. Every time I try, I get lost or forget where I'm going. It's hopeless. No one knows who you are because you aren't real. Only I am. Let me in. Wow, that's a terrible thing to have in your head. Okay, I've got other questions. Let's talk about who you used to be again. She groans, clutching at her head. I'll be back when I figure out how to help you. So, I mean, I also want to go over here, but that doesn't seem to be achievable right now. I don't know if it's right now or ever.
I'm ready.
Finzen, buddy, pal, how you doing? Alrighty, everything about this slender young man says thug, from his scar-slashed eyebrows to the calloused hand hovering over his hip, where a dagger would hang. But he doesn't have one. Instead, flour cakes his hand, and a single apron string hangs from his pocket. He is, apparently, a baker. Stand still, you shine, he says, and peers over his shoulder. He follows gaze to an armoured soldier who's loitering in the public square. Levy's been following me for days, can't even stop for a piss without checking from side to side. You sure he's following you? Put it like this. I know when I'm being followed. I've seen him on my track from dawn to dark for 3 days. I ain't done nothing wrong. It's worse than that, he says. It's my levy. What do you mean he's your levy? I'm a citizen, he says, as if it explains it. When it comes clear, he groans. Every levy's made from a citizen. This one was made from me. Look, I can't explain why, but I know that one's mine. I feel it, right? And now it's coming for me. Look, he won't leave me alone, right? I gave a year of my life to make him, and I thought that was that. Now I catch him, standing in the street outside the bakery, whispering to himself, playing with that carving of his. He even tried to talk to me. Levies ain't supposed to know who they came from, right? They ain't supposed to know who you are. He wavers, gathering his courage. Could you talk to him? Find out what he wants? Can't you talk to him yourself? I've heard stories. Levies go wrong sometimes. They get obsessed with the person who gave them life. If the two ever meet, the levy goes mad, tears them apart. This ain't gonna happen to me, not after all I've been through. Alright, I'll talk to your levy. He's the only levy in this district, so you can't miss him. Plus, he ain't smiling like all the others, and he's holding some charred wooden thing in his hands.
Making a note.
You, need anything else? What is normal behavior for a levy, anyway? There... He hesitates, raising his hands as if he's trying to contain his response before he lets it escape his mouth. They work for the people who make the laws, right? And if someone breaks those laws, they track him down. Always smiling, mind you. Figures my levy would be the unhappy kind. Okay, fair enough.
I'm ready.
Let's have a bit of a chit-chat with Mr. Levyface. The face of this armored man is oddly generic, as almost as if it's been designed to be forgettable. His livery marks him as a soldier in the service of Sagas Cliffs. A levy. The word comes easily to your mind. Also, I mean, we've had a bunch of people talk to us about it. Like, we know that it's a levy. Everyone else has talked about levies. Why isn't that taken into account? Why? Whatever. He stares past you, turning to a small charred object over and over in his hands, whispering to himself. His overlarge eyes are red, wet, and haunted. He appears to be looking for someone, and having spoken to Finzen, you can imagine who. The aura of shame around him is so powerful you can practically taste it. What are you holding there? He says, then grimaces as those words hurt him. I'm holding my shame. His hands unfold one bloody, soot-covered finger at a time. A crudely made wooden bird lies there, painted in pinks and pale blues, and charred around the edges. That bird represents your shame? Represents? No. This is my shame, and I'm holding it. I can't put it down. Finzen sent me to find out why you're following him. Yes, he says, display melting away, and in that moment he looks like a child, with a child's desperate hope. He knows too, doesn't he? He sees what he did, what we did. Tears leak from his eyes, trailing down into his mouth when he continues. When the machine ripped the ear from him to make me, I felt the choices unraveling before me. He hugs himself. I see them coming. None of it can be changed.
Making a note.
Tell him this for me. The Gillam Manor job did happen. A servant caught him, called the levies. They chased him, and he set a fire. His eyes squeezed shut. The fire spread through the neighborhood. People were trapped. People screamed. His hands clenched over the charred toy bird in his palms with a soft crunch. Tell him I'm with him in the dark, hiding from the mobs. Sub him. Tell him to give me a different year. A better one. What kind of year do you want from him? A year without the blackened door, he says earnestly, without the hand tangled in the grate, the weeping in the dark places. The silent tears stream down his face. He doesn't seem to be aware of them. Wails rising with the glowing ashes, my arms bound with a ragged rope. Every time I'm in there, those last minutes, I try to apologize. But my mouth is full of dirt and blood. Hold on, I'll speak with Finzen.
Yes.
Did you find anything out? I've spoken to the levy. He mentioned something about a Gillam Manor job? What? Finzen says, going back. Keep your voice down. You tell anyone else about this? No? Good. He lowers his voice. I have to be unspecific about this. Before I became a citizen, I wasn't a nice person. I took things for money. Just a few weeks ago, certain people told me they wanted me to rob Gillam Manor. He grimaces, rubbing his neck. I was going to do it, but then I became a citizen. Gave up a year of my life to create the levy. That levy. Something changed. All of a sudden, couldn't get the dangers out of my head. How thick the levy patrols were like. Or how the captain himself was looking into one of my older adventures. He plays with the apron strings hanging from his pocket. So I cancelled the job and started working at my aunt's bakery. Never did the Gillam job. That's the truth. The levy is seeing what would have happened if you did the job. He wants another year from you.
Making a note.
Oh, I get it. It's a shakedown. Give me a year, I'll tell him what you did. Well, I ain't done anything. I never killed anyone, and I don't owe him nothing. I can't keep handing out years like they're free. Based on what he said, it sounds like becoming a citizen saved your life. And that was my decision, not his.
I'll remember that.
I'd go up to Government Square and tell Captain Levy's what he's up to if I had a way of explaining it. Hey, your Levy's following me around. I think it's because he's haunted by my criminal past. What could we tell Captain Levy's do? Levies ain't supposed to follow their citizens around. They ain't supposed to get a weepy either. Telling the captain to take care of a problem for sure, but I ain't about to try for myself. You want to try talking to us? She's in Government Square. I'd rather not. Didn't think so. Can't say I blame you either. What then? You could give the Levy another chance. You start afresh, he could get the same chance. See, the thing is, I don't think that'd work that way, honestly. I think they'd go, no. Because the citizen thing seems to be a one-time deal. So I'm not entirely sure why this is a valid answer. I mean, we can do it. It's easy enough to persuade. I mean, even Rin could do it. But You know, oh wow. I'm kind of tempted to just do this. Have Eridus try and fail. But you know what, I'll go with the 40% chance. Rin, try and talk him into it. Oh, okay, we succeeded. Never even tried this before. Oh, for what? He says exasperated. A couple of bad dreams. Didn't do anything. He subsides, crosses his arms. Alright, what did he see in this other future? I got caught, chased around. You, started a fire that killed a lot of people. How much is a lot? He says, rubbing his mouth with the back of his hand. He says there's some of the truth in your eyes and sighs.
Making a note.
Fine, but I ain't running myself down searching for a way to give my life away. Levy machines at the order of truth. Go talk to Skolix since you're so hungry for this. Maybe they can bash something together, rip another year for me and give it to him. He grins, but his heart's definitely not in it. Good luck. I mean, this is the more interesting one, because if you don't persuade him, and instead you just go talk to the captain of levies, and we could still do that. They go take Levy away, kill it. That's it. Done. Simple. But I don't. That's it. Like you don't learn anything more about the levies. You just like, okay, sometimes they go wrong, and then we kill them off rather than potentially deal with this. And that's just not as interesting.
Doing the X learning, I guess.
Let's talk to Medelia Glittering. Hello, friend. A smiling, dark-haired woman greets you, standing behind a table of trinkets. Your eyes are drawn to the 3 small rodents that lazily orbit her head in 3 floating balls. They take turns hovering just out of reach of the half-mechanical, half-organic cat perched on the woman's shoulder. The smile disappears from her face as a small tremor runs through the ground beneath her feet. That's the 7th time today. She glances nervously at the remnants of the structure next door. When that one fell, I heard them screaming, shrieking like the wind was tearing at their bones. Perception, you feel the walls of her home shudder beneath your feet, and the roof settles at an angle slightly more canted than it was. Should I abandon my home before it abandons me, I wonder? She idly turns a couple of curiosities on her table so the light catches on the various planes and materials. Then the smile returns to her face. Come, tell me which of my treasures speaks to you. Let me see what you got for sale. So this oddity I'm going to sell. Let's see what we got. We got Psychic Detonation, which kills a bunch of things. We got this, which is a heal. We got a bonded artifact that drops our training in ranged weapons, but gives us more esoteric. It gives us more sneaking, which honestly I'd get the Sylph Cord, and Skolix Archive, which also gives us this. -1 training in persuasion. No, that is not what I'm interested in. So this is lengths of gossamer thread wind around the spindle, covered in finely carved pictograms. Figures covered in and blinded by crisscrossing lines. Okay. I can't buy it. And this one is, this bony segmented chain unravels at the touch of living flesh and latches eagerly onto a user's spine. Once attached, it will sense the user will sense the presence of another mind within that is wise, knowledgeable, and contagiously rude. And that's also pretty cool. I'm not getting it though. I'd probably get it and give it to someone else, but we don't have the slots anyway. Nice. Okay. Alright, what do we want to do? We've got ourselves 7 minutes. We could go to the pub. We could go... You know what? Let's, go to the pub. Let's continue Loss of Self. Because I've never done that quest before. And I want to do it. Okay, yes. So firstly, we'll talk to O. Your eyes cannot focus on this person. Whether male or female you cannot say, but it hums with a force that both attracts and repels you. You feel a sense of amusement as its regard settles upon you. You speak with O, it says. You have tasted the truth in the form of machine lubricant. You have contemplated the totality of human existence. Speak quickly and true, the world slows around you. The being has no mind to speak of where there should be thoughts. You instead sense only a deep, endless hole threatening to swallow your mind. Who are you? I am, you might call me an ultra-terrestrial, though I am far more. I am from beyond space, beyond time, behind time, above your comprehension. Your mind has chosen this form for me, and I am content to exist within this structure. But know that I also exist outside of your subjective experience. Some might describe me as a superpositional extraction of fundamental universal laws made tangible. It gestures languidly, and you understand perfectly. I am a word made flesh. A letter, at least, a concept covered in false skin, infinitely malleable, essentially unknowable. What are you doing here? I am here to see the final attempt at entry by the adversaries. I am here to offer a vision to Leto. Did you say this is a final attempt at entry by adversaries? The adversaries thought to peel through realities to devour this world as they have others. They have never lost this world as their first taste of defeat. Within themselves, the eaten cores of their victims begin to stir. The adversaries will cease to exist in any meaningful form within a millennium if they are stopped here. This is an inflection point. If the warriors here succeed, the adversaries do not rise again for an eon. So it is written. Where did you come from? You would not understand. Let me show you. Its eyes widen, expanding to fill the room. Your vision, your consciousness, and you tumble into a starry immensity. Swirls of nebulae twist and knot, and in the heart of these stellar clusters roar hungry vortices. You tumble helplessly into a myriad of them at once, torn apart and reformed in an instant. A being of pure light and will. You find yourself standing in the fifth eye again. Your nose is running, tears streak through your cheeks. You wipe them away numbly, and you realize that your hand is streaked with blood. But hey, +1 intellect. Too much information, too much knowledge. Had I shown you more, the energies that bind you together would have failed. You said you come to offer vision to Leto. She is prescient. She is the mother of empires. The adversary's presence has polluted her vision, and she has strayed from the page. I am here to reunite her with the truth. I do not intervene, but this story was true, and so it is true, and so this is not an intervention. The vision will come when you have left the city. What does it mean to be a what? I was, am, will be. I see into the past infinite. I see into the illimitable future. When the cosmos erupted into a sea of light, I saw it. When the mechanism winds to a sad, creaking end, I will weep. At the moment the great wings of death enclose creation, I am the last vestige of dust, version forever perfected. Farewell. A moment. None here will know of our conversation. None will know its nature. None see me, nor will they recognize any sign of me. Even in this remarkable place they cannot know. But I give you a gift, cast off, and God and woman, for yours is a true story. It is welcomed into the world. It was born from desire, and will end in. But no, I do not tell your fortune. Light envelops you, and when you open your eyes, O is gone. Permanently gain 4 health. Nice. Okay.
Trust and honesty are our bonds.
Let's talk to the ghostly woman. You draw closer, but the wispy form of the woman in the booth does not clarify. You hardly discern the details of her ghostly face, and you hear a chorus of whispering female voices that swarm around her like chance moths. Study her face more carefully. You peek more closely, and she takes no notice of you. Her features are those of a teenage woman leaving childhood behind. Your memory sparks faintly. These clothes look familiar to you. Wait, they're familiar because they were fashioned in Sega's cliffs 9 centuries ago, and your mind has dredged that association from its depths. You've seen her face before, somewhere in the city. This ghostly woman could be her twin. Listen to the whispers. They brush against your mind just below the level of conscious thought. You hear them, but not with your ears. You can only make out snatches of the whispers in your mind. You killed me, created me, never wanted to die. Who are you? She suddenly has been ignoring you. She has been ignoring you, but without a transitional state, her face is suddenly furiously focused on yours. Another flicker, and her hands wrap around your throat. Ghost or not, her fingers are very real, and they are choking the life from you. Well, let's try to escape. We succeed. Great. You manage to wrest her fingers from your throat, and you hurl her away. You come up in a crash, ready for another attack, but she's looking away from you, as if nothing had happened. Okay, so I don't actually get a straight thing to do with her. Well, you know what? Let's let her kill us. Try to draw her attention again. Again, she's on us, let her strangle us. Her fingers dig deeper. She's not just compressing her trachea, she's tearing her throat out. You cough and choke, drowning on your blood, but she's latched inside of you. The last thing you see is her rage-twisted face.
I'm hurt.
Oh, hello. Interesting. Yeah, it's warm next to this machine. You feel dizzy whenever you go near it. And yes, this is indeed interesting.
Ready.
You know, well, continue this next time. Until then, have a great day. Bye. Thanks for watching. I really appreciate you spending the time and effort watching the videos I make. If you'd like to watch more, on the left there should be another video from this playlist. On the right there will be whatever YouTube recommends. And in the center there is a convenient subscribe button just in case you need it.